I'll tell you, I don't think it's a bad idea to go into Hollywood, actually, because if you have the right mindset, you can make a change in Hollywood.
Infiltrate.
You can start writing values-based scripts. You can demand, that you're producing, directing, whatever it may be, and do it in a conservative way. I mean, I think young people within the industry now that I see, they're taking a whole different stand. A lot of them are saying, I'm not going to do nudity, I'm not going to do sex scenes. If more bigger name people would stand up against it, what are they going to do? What are they going to do?
It's interesting because, I was one of those that had to confront this whole demon of, am I willing to engage the culture? When I moved to California and got the offer to do a reality show, I thought, why would anybody do that? And then I realized that that's the only way.
It is the only way.
Only way, because culture, as we talked about, is upstream of politics, and it is leading, and women can have such a major role in that, as mentioned, by letting our children take part in cultural things. Putting my children on national television on a reality show that I knew was not going to paint an accurate picture was a very scary prospect.
Oh, yes.
But ultimately, the conversions that happened, that I mentioned in the book, the conversions that happened because of that are amazing. And still to this day, when we go on the shows that are the more controversial, we've all done them. We've all done them.
Sure.
That aren't respectful of our conservative views. Those are the shows that I get the best fan mail from, saying things like, you changed my mind. I thought conservatives looked like this, talked like this, acted like this, and it turns out conservatives, you are not at all what Chris Matthews told me a conservative was.
That's right.
So that's why we do need to be out there. And I think one of the really exciting things that is happening is that a lot of conservatives are, my daughter included, she's decided culture is it, and she's in Hollywood, and she wants to make movies that have that positive message. We know they sell.
Absolutely, they sell.
It's a matter of getting the network started and changing Hollywood. And Morgan, you were witness to Hollywood really transforming from
absolutely
really wholesome and good to what it is today. And it can transform back. You look back, Deborah, Esther, I mean, we can go through the list of names of women who have really revolutionized culture. And that's the point of this book.
It is. So many of our politics writers too. I mean, these women they've never done anything in their lives politically. And it's so funny how when you just give them a little nurturing and you give them a little encouragement and say, you can do this, even in your little tiny small town in Mississippi. Our Mississippi politic, Lydia Goodman, she's been shunned by her friends in her small town because she's conservative. They're conservative too, but they don't want to hear about it. They don't believe that the things they don't believe that the things that are happening in California and New York could actually affect them someday. So they're not even voting. And that's the problem. I think we're missing a big chunk of women in the middle of the United States that don't think that they're going to be affected by this cancer that is moving toward them every single moment.
Well, it's nice to stick your head into the sand, but one of the stories that I talk about in the book as well is a Holocaust survivor whose mother stuck her head in the sand and then had to answer to her child in a concentration camp. I mean, the bottom line is people want to believe that there's something really different about our country, that we could never fall to tyranny. When so many cultures believe that and then fell to tyranny. I don't know what we think makes us different. We won't even call ourselves exceptional, but we don't think that's ever going to happen here. It is happening here.
It is.
We are losing our rights every single day as mothers, as women, as American citizens. And I would just ask this one thing. I think this is the critical question that our book asks. There's so much noise. There's so much noise. I would ask women to just shut it off and think for themselves for a moment about the rational truth of the path that we're on, the path that they're on, the path that they're forging for their children. Just to take time and just go, what is the real truth here? Because we're believing so many lies. I have a friend who, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends growing up, and I saw on her Facebook page that she was taking all her kids to see Miley Cyrus. And
Oh my gosh.
I thought, wow, now I'll listen to Miley's song. I'm
mean
not like
recently?
Yeah, yes.
Oh.
And I'm not one of those who's like, turn it off. I'm not like that. I mean, I think we live in this world. We need to be in the world, not of it. But I can't imagine making that decision to take my children, especially my young daughters, to see that. And even though I don't think it's a matter of her thinking about it long term. I think that's what most of us do. We don't want to deal with it, and there's so much noise, and politics is ugly, and it's for dirty people. Well, I think we're kind of here to say, you know what? We're not those ugly, dirty people. We really are just people who love our families and our children, and we want other women to wake up to that same reality. And you two have the coolest stories of real conversion stories that are in the book that I think make it even more human and more real. I mean, I've kind of always believed what I believe, but you had your light bulb moments that so many women will identify with.
I understand both sides. I really do. I have a real understanding because I was on that other side. I understand this utopian dream. I get it. I understand why they want to believe that this can be a perfect world. Who doesn't want that?
Right. But it's not possible.
It's not possible.
And the amazing thing to me is I think that our book poses, it isn't so much what women really want. I want women to take away from it. I want them to sit down and say, what do I really want? What do I really want? And whether it may be, I'm going to concentrate on my family, I'm going to concentrate on political things, getting this country back, whatever it may be, each woman has to say to herself, what do I really want? So it's kind of a guiding thing. But you know what, we were talking about your transformation, because you were more of a Democrat at one point.
I was.
Listen,
I hate to say this. Every time I say this, I feel like I'm doing a lashing. I'm confessing. What's it called when
Oh yeah, I know what you're doing.
Those
yes,
things that you hit your back with?
yes.
I feel like I'm doing that. But I was my first year in college. I took Reagan signs down and put Jimmy Carter signs up. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm so sorry. But I did. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but look, and we're not saying it's going to be easy to do this.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy
It's
because
much harder. Don't you think it's much harder to be us?
It is way harder because you're going to probably lose friends. You're going to probably be chastised for what you believe and what you say, and they're going to come down hard on you. But you know what? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
True.
Right? And so I think every woman that takes a stand is going to feel so much better about herself, because I know that since I've made my transition and decided to stand up and be one of the Hollywood people that say, I am a conservative, and I am a proud conservative, and I love this country, and I support the military, and I'm for the Bill of Rights, and I stand up for that. Yes, I take a lot of flack for it, but you know what? Inside and deep down inside, I feel so much better about myself.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's the whole transparent, authentic living kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think the other really nice thing is that when you're this honest with yourself, when you have that quiet moment where you ask, what do I really want, that you talked about, I think once you figure that out and you determine your life course based on truth, then forever, you don't have to, I love that saying, act justly and fear no man. If you do what you know is right, and you stop living the lie, and you stop sticking your head in the sand like an ostrich,
that's right.
Then I think you come to a point where everything you do feels better.
It does.
Because it's real.
It's freeing. It is.
And you also form of liberty.
It is a form of liberty.
What tolerance really is, because
there is
nothing tolerant about the left.
That's such
and
a
they
great
throw
point.
that at us
It
all
is.
the time, that we're the big.
We're
closed-minded
intolerant,
intolerant.
right.
We can be whatever we want to be, but when you don't toe the line 100% on the left, you are shunned. You are Stacey dashed.
They will shut you down.
Yeah.
They will shut you down.
Yeah.
If you don't agree with everything in lockstep with them, they will shut you down.
Even Kermit Gosnell, people that were speaking out on the left against Kermit Gosnell, serial killer, they were shunned. They were told to shut up.
Sure.
How can you do? There's nothing tolerant.